Being in shape priorities. I'm Tony. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies.
I got one shot, this ain't a gimmick. You got one life, watch how you live it. You got one take, only one take. You got one life, why would you waste?
So in this series of getting in shape, being in shape, and trying to define what being there, getting there, being in shape actually means, we've come to the part where we're trying to prioritize what it means to us to be in shape. So in order to try to keep this simple, I've broken this definition down into three priorities, three categories of what you should prioritize when it comes to what you consider to being in shape. This should help define for you what you want, why you want it, and maybe how to get there so that you know what you're trying to achieve, how to get there, and how to prioritize it. The three categories I want you to think about in no particular order, because it's up to you to prioritize what order they go in, is first of all, how do you feel physically, not emotionally? Because as I alluded to and talked about in my other video about how to get in shape, stay in shape permanently, until you resolve your emotions, until you become emotionally stable, emotionally intelligent, nothing you do beyond that is ever going to make a permanent difference in terms of losing fat and getting in shape. So how do you feel physically? How important is that to you? The next category is how do you perform? And of course, this could apply athletically into whatever sports you may or may not participate in, but it also means everything else in terms of your everyday life. So like, how does your mind work? How does it perform? Are you clear-minded? Do you come up blank, or does your memory stutter sometimes when you're trying to remember certain things? How do you sleep? Do you go to sleep fast? Do you stay asleep during the night? Do you get deep sleep? Or are you constantly waking up? Is it hard for you to go to sleep? How are you performing in terms of sleep? And just in general, your everyday tasks. So when you're going about your daily life and taking care of the same kind of stuff you have to do every day, is it difficult for you to do that? Do you have problems, completing it, getting stuff done, getting motivated throughout the day? Or is it fairly easy for you? How do you perform in your everyday life? And then, because we are human and because we're all vain, how do you look? How's your appearance? Are you satisfied with it? Are there things you like, don't like? What do you want to change? What do you want to improve? What do you want to manipulate? We all have those thoughts, those feelings about how we look in terms of our appearance. So how important is that to you? Once you've considered those questions and those categories, now it's time to prioritize what is more important to you and put them in order. This will help you to understand what it is you want and where you should put the majority and the priority and the order of the effort that you're going to put into trying to get into shape. For instance, with me, I am a casual basketball player nowadays. I'm no longer an active player, but if I were still active and still competitive, my number one priority would be performance. It would be how I perform out here on the court. So in terms of getting into shape, everything I do, or at least the majority, my main focus would be how do I get into shape so that I can perform my very best out here on the court. So in terms of getting into shape, how I perform would be my top priority. The majority and main focus of my effort into getting into shape would revolve around how I perform and optimizing that for out here at the basketball court. Secondly to that would be how do I feel physically, because there's a direct correlation between how I feel and how I would play. So if I don't feel well, I'm not gonna play well. So I have to also focus on keeping my body in a condition in which I feel good so that I can perform well out on the court. And then by default, how I look would fall into the last position on my priority list. But as it stands today, me being a casual basketball player at best, no longer active, no longer competitive, what is most important to me is how do I feel? How does my body feel? That's my top priority. After all of the years on the basketball court, after all of the wear and tear I've put on my body, all of my arthritis, I am now most focused on how does my body feel on a daily basis. And then within that question, within that category is like, so for me, number one would be energy. Energy is everything to me. If I don't have high energy, or at least moderate energy, I'm pretty much good for nothing if my energy is low. So my energy level is number one top priority for me. Second to that would be, how does my joints, my tendons feel? How does my arthritis feel? Am I achy? Do I have a headache? How is that affecting how I feel on a daily basis? And then, because I am a all or nothing kind of person, I can't have performance be in that second position, because that would be moderation, right? I'm not good at moderation. So for me, performance is going to be everything, or it's going to be last on my list of priorities. So because it can't be first in my number one priority, it by default has to be my last priority, which then of course by default puts how I look, my appearance, at my second priority, current day on my current priorities list. And keep in mind, these priorities that you set don't always and forever, day in, day out, always have to be in that order. Usually it goes how I feel, how do I look, how do I perform, in that order most days. There are some time frames throughout the year where that changes, but those changes are usually temporary, depending on if there's certain circumstances or special celebrations or circumstances that come up where I have to elevate different things to different priorities. But for the most part, it stays in that order. And it's fine for those priorities to change and evolve and grow over time, but you should at least have an idea of what you want. Having those priorities on a daily basis allows me structure in order to know what it is I want to do for that day, where I want to concentrate my focus. It gives me an idea of what I should be doing, how often, and what importance I place upon it. So I think we're doing pretty good in terms of fleshing out this definition of what it means for us to be in shape. We started off with the baseline of what we consider our bare minimum to be in shape, and now we have priorities of what is important to us to be in shape. The last video in this series is going to be about setting goals and being specific and having an actual target to aim at for getting in shape. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that subscription button right now so that you do not miss when that next video goes live. Also, like, comment, hit that notification button. That notification button will make sure that you're notified of when all of my videos go live. So thank you guys again, and I will see you guys next week.
Take in one take moments and notice it's historical. They don't know the process, the prophet, or it's an oracle. No place to lay my head cause the studio stay portable. What good's to gain the world but lose your soul? That ain't rhetorical.